Yes, team, hoo-yah, and welcome to session 55 of Mindset Mastery. So, breaking the habit that we're going to talk about today is without a doubt the most life-changing thing that you'll ever do. And when you break this habit, you will achieve more than you ever have. And that habit is the habit of being the old you. Now, most people also have the habit of waking up every morning, and the second they do, whether you know you're doing this or not, you start thinking about your problems, your past, what's not working for you, your responsibilities, who you're not happy with, who's driving you mad at work, how your partner upset you yesterday, how replaying a conversation from your boss 4 days previous, or anything in between. Now, the other thing that people also replay is their limiting beliefs, which can only be created by a memory of their past. So essentially, we are replaying past beliefs and thinking that they are still real, present, and concrete is the word I'd like to use. So what you are doing in this scenario is you are replaying the past and recreating the past as soon as you wake up, because you'll think the future hasn't happened yet. So the only thing that you actually have knowledge of is the past. And you've heard me talk before about how your brain is like screenshot. Memories of the past, memories of the past, memories of the past. And that's where all our emotions and feelings and thoughts are coming from. Now that's what we need to change, because essentially it's like watching the same movie on repeat over and over and over and expecting a different outcome. Now, your brain is wired to look at those pictures, what it already knows and how it's been programmed, exactly like a computer. And your body and your brain are both addicted to familiarity and to comfort. Now, we also then become addicted to the comfort of these emotions. So it's easier to moan and take than it is to take responsibility. It's easy to be negative. Sometimes it's very hard to be positive. It's easy to be angry. It's very hard to be calm sometimes. Now, step one of breaking this cycle is, of course, becoming aware of it and taking ownership. But like I've told you so many times, the reason why so many people won't take ownership or become aware is that the cost of awareness and ownership is that you then have to adapt your future behaviour within your own life, so to speak. And it becomes your responsibility in line with your new insights. So you can't have this take ownership of the fact that you're drinking every weekend, it's destroying your life, you're moody, miserable and mardy all the time, it's costing you a load of money, every week you feel like crap, every week you say this is going to be the last weekend, and then do it again. Because the cost of full awareness and ownership of that is that you then have to adapt your behaviour in line with your new insights. If not, essentially, what are you doing? You're having the lesson, you've got the insight, but you can keep pushing it away. I did this for many years. It's not a problem. I don't need to worry about it. Not right now. And when you fully take ownership and awareness, do you know what? That's not good enough. I need to stop doing that. That's destroying me. You then have to adapt your behavior in line with those new insights. Most people deep down want to keep doing the thing, which is why they won't ever take ownership, but not you, because you wouldn't be here. So step one of breaking this cycle, as I said, is becoming aware of it. But were you aware of the first thing you thought this morning when you woke up? Were you aware of the last thing you thought last night before you went to bed? Now, because I've worked so hard to nail this, and it was why I was inspired to film this training today and make it easier. Like I said, not much different to the professional videographer, but I now have my own camera. It's there, lights, and I can film these whenever I want. So when I get inspired for you guys, as well as there just being one per week, I'm also just going to jump on and do another one, and some short 15-minute motivational ones, as I said. So I was aware of this last night, and that's why I felt inspired to film it. Last night I went to bed thinking about all of my goals, all of my dreams, all of my future. And me and Nat were talking about business and goals and inspiration and what we want to achieve and where we want to go and who we need to become in order to achieve that. And guess what? The first thing I thought about when I woke up was I wanted to dive in the office and get to work, because what we'd been talking about before we went to bed was the first and foremost thought in my mind on the morning. Again, if I'd gone to sleep worrying about stress, debt, anger, other people, conversations, the past, same thing would have happened, okay? Now, I've practiced this so often and I know it works, and every time I fall asleep stressed and worried and wake up stressed and worried, I kick myself, but then I'll have a cold shower to get out of it. That's why I can't get it, because it's over there. That's why the planner has a question. What's my mental state? What's my physical state? How am I feeling physically out of 10? How am I feeling mentally out of 10? If it's a 3 or a 4, get in a fucking cold shower, train, do some mindset and go for a walk. Because if not, you're going to walk into the day with a 4, and guess what? You're going to have a shit day. Guaranteed you. That's why those questions are in there. Now, I know this because I practiced it for 5 years. Now, then what happened this morning was when I woke up feeling so inspired, I then journaled it. I then planned my day. I then did some more mindset stuff. I then had some mindset stuff on when I took Logan to Holiday Club. And all of that without even looking at my phone. And I ran into the day absolutely on fire. Now, you can all do that every single day. And I felt awesome today and I got loads done. That's no coincidence. That whole chain happened from what I was thinking and talking about when I went to bed, what I was thinking and talking about when I woke up, the planning, the journaling, and the, as I said, cementing it or reaffirming it to myself as soon as I got up. That's what created a great day today. It is not a coincidence. Now, as I said, awareness is the first step to any positive change. If not, you're just hiding like a 12-year-old in your bedroom and thinking that's not a problem. I'll deal with that later. Later might never come, okay? But as I said, the cost of awareness is that you must adapt your behavior in line with your new insights, which is why many people won't do it. And it's why they choose to stay blissfully unaware rather than becoming unaware. It's why they stay subconscious rather than becoming conscious. It's why they blame, complain, and justify rather than taking responsibility. Because if they do the opposite, then it means they have to change. And deep down, they're not ready or they don't want to. But those people, and me in the past, and maybe you if you're here, don't beat yourself up if you are, self-love and compassion, treat it as a lesson and move forwards. But they're more addicted to their current story and their circumstances than they are committed to change. They'd rather keep telling the story about how it's different for them than go, hey, what, guess it's not different for me, I'm ready for change. And if that is you, only you know why. Now, as I said, become aware, but then start to notice and really think about what repetitive thoughts are you having every day. And the only way you can change this is by catching them and changing them, catching them and changing them. And your success comes down to the speed at which you manage to do that. Now, especially with ADHD, this inner chatter that keeps telling you that you can't, that you're not good enough, that you're too old. You have to tell it to shut the fuck up. You have to quieten it. You might have to meditate, might have to do mindset work, you have to journal, but you have to quiet it, because you can achieve anything if you want to. Anything. You can make any amount of money, you can have any type of relationship, you can drive any car, have any house, have any future, any health, any body, anything. All you need to do is put your mind to it and go to work on it every day. All you need to do is focus on it and work on it every day. Right? It's not too hard. You're not too old. Everybody can do it. Just keep showing up and eventually you'll win. Eventually you'll succeed. The biggest way to succeed is to stop quitting. You guys can see how many people either quit or are booted out of this group in the last few weeks. Right? They will not succeed because at some point you don't quit and then things suddenly get better. It gets worse until you end up in that much pain that you have to start again. Only this time you're starting in a worse position than you were when you quit. But in the moment, quitting felt good. No more Lee holding me accountable. No more group triggering me every day. No more gym when it's cold. No more having to say no to fucking cakes and wine. So in the moment it feels good until you feel worse. And then it gets worse and worse and worse until you're back in a position of desperation where you're forced to take change. And I promise you this now, if you don't make time for your health now, at some point you will be forced to. If you don't make time to lose weight now, if you're carrying 2, 3, 4 extra stone, at some time you will be forced to. If you're not making time for anything in your life that is critical to your future, at some time you will be forced to. So pay attention to what subconscious thoughts you're having and pay attention to what emotions they are creating, because they're not fixed. It's called neuroplasticity, not neuroconcrete. We are rewiring, not hardwiring. Anything in your life that you're not happy with, you can change it. It's not fixed. But the reality is you've started running on autopilot. Now, if you've constantly felt that you're not good enough, if you've constantly felt that you're too old, that you're running out of time, that you give up too early, that you don't have enough motivation or confidence, that you can't be consistent, pay attention to those thoughts. Pay attention to the emotions. Now, whether it's fear, frustration, anxiety, or self-doubt, these emotions and thoughts will all feel normal and comfortable to you because you've repeated them your entire life. Over and over and over, watching the same movie every day and wondering why the ending never changes. But those thoughts aren't serving you, which is why we need to break the habit of being the old you. Because your old self is not who you are destined to be. It's who you have been programmed to be by others. You didn't teach yourself that you're not good enough and that you're a quitter. Somebody else told you that and then backed it up with some experiences. But you've probably practiced being the old you for 10, 20, 30, 40, some of you even 50 years. Change happens when you start observing these thoughts and challenging them. When you start thinking about what thoughts are creating the emotions and you start challenging them. And when you change how you think, you change how you feel. When you change who you spend time around, your environment, you change how you feel. Okay? But when you're unaware, you're just going to stay stuck forever. So we have to move from unaware to aware. We have to move from unconscious to subconscious. Most people aren't even aware of how they are thinking and how it's making them feel. That's what you need to change. You have to interrupt that cycle and change it, just like the TV channel, just like the movie. If you don't like what you're watching, aka your version of life, change the fucking channel, just like on a TV. What do you do if a nightclub's got 5 rooms and you don't like the music in one room? What do? You go and walk into another room. Life is the same, but your old self is just the same movie playing over and over again. I always quit. I'm not good enough. It's different for me. My ADHD this, my depression this, my anxiety this. I'll never lose weight. Blah, 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 blah. This person did this and this is why the way I am. Bollocks. Same movie over and over and over. That's the old you. We want to create the new you. And breaking that habit means changing the channel, choosing new thoughts, choosing a new future, reprogramming your brain, and choosing a new film where you play the leading role, where you're the leading man or woman, where you're the star, where you're the one getting the Oscar. Fuck the extras. Nobody cares about them. Those are the people whose opinions you keep giving a fuck about, okay? But changing your thoughts requires awareness, it requires energy, it requires intention, and it requires repetition, just like building big arms, a big booty, or whatever part of your body you want to be big. Now, as I've said before, you are not your thoughts and your thoughts are not reality. This process requires you to think greater than your past, greater than the people that have programmed you, greater than your environment or your current set of circumstances or situations, and greater than the limiting beliefs that aren't serving you, greater than the story you love to tell and that you've become addicted to. Most people can't wait to tell you about their past. Who let them down? Who hurt them? Why life's not fair? Why it's different for them? Why they can't lose weight? Why they can't lose money? Make money? Why they can't be successful? Why everyone in their family's always been big? Why all rich people are evil? Why it's the government's fault, their ex's fault, their parents' fault. They can't wait to tell that story they're addicted to. You have to change that, because you can do, be and have anything that you want. And the only thing blocking you from that is you. Because you're in charge of your thoughts. Now, when you have a limiting belief or a negative thought next time, that probably sounded really bad on the microphone. Take a deep breath. Is it real? Is it serving me? What's the evidence? How can I change it? How can I change my environment? How can I change my thinking? How can I change how I'm feeling? Because you're in control. You are the master of your destiny. You are the creator of your reality. We all are. But your thoughts and your emotions do also not need to control your actions. If you punch someone every time you get angry, life ain't going to turn out too well. If you give up every time it gets tough, every time you experience the emotion of frustration, if you quit, then that's not going to work out too well. The thoughts that you have that then invoke an emotion do not need to control your action. That's why someone can get right up in my face. Okay, and I can have thoughts of, I want to spark him clean out. But then I breathe. And I don't need to fight back. I don't need to prove myself. Nothing to prove. But in that situation, as an example, if I allowed my angry thoughts combined with my emotion of frustration and hurt, feeling attacked, to then control my actions, attack back, then life's not going to turn out too well. Our actions don't have to be controlled by our thoughts and our emotions. We can control them. Now, each time you choose a new thought, a positive thought, a happy thought, a joyful thought, a fulfilling thought, a loving thought, a new belief, a new emotion, and you take a new action, you are rewiring your brain. You are reprogramming your mind. Because neurons that fire together, wire together. And when you stop firing the old patterns of why it's different for you, and you stop firing the patterns of blaming, complaining and justifying, and you start firing new patterns, the old ones will break. Eventually, become that positive that negative fucks off. There's only so much room for thoughts to be programmed. And if we're programming, positive, action, gratitude, love, action. Eventually, we'll tune out the noise of the negativity and the frustration and the anger. Tune into the different channel. Remember, Abundance FM over Scarcity FM. And when you introduce intentional, conscious thoughts about the future and who you want to be, you're then strengthening those bonds and those neurons and those pathways and that wiring. But the real skill, and I learnt this from Dr. Joe Dispenza, is combining these thoughts with elevated emotions. So thinking the thought and creating a happy emotion. When I think of this, saying this, I always think about who's seen Happy Gilmore. You know, he's like in my happy place and there's like the hot blonde bird in the stockings and suspenders and he's got a big beer and loads of food. I think he's hopping around on some kind of animal. But he thinks happy thoughts and he feels amazing. Strange example, but if anyone's seen Happy Gilmore, they will know. His thoughts are controlling his emotions. He thought happy thoughts and he felt happy. There's also another scene in Happy Gilmore where he gets very frustrated at Crazy Golf and says, "You're gonna die, clown," and then smashes up the fairground Crazy Golf thing because his actions followed his emotions of anger and frustration. Okay, it works both ways, but when we get a handle on it, we're creating new neural pathways and we're reprogramming the mind for success. You're literally teaching yourself to think differently, act differently, behave differently and believe differently, to hyper focus with obsession on a compelling and exciting vision of your future, not the past, to focus on the new you and not the old you. To focus on what you want to have happened, not what's happened. Now, it's hard to start with because the old you's been wired that way for years and years and years. The old you is persistent. The old you is stubborn. The old you doesn't want to train. The old you wants to stay comfortable, to stay safe. And like a fucking bad ex, it will try and pull you back time and time and time again with cravings, excuses, false beliefs, lies, and the story that you've become addicted to. You have to fight it. And as I said, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. You'll probably feel stupid. You'll feel afraid to let go of the old you because guess what? You're going to lose some friends. But what's worse is the discomfort of staying the old you and never seeing any change and watching that same fucking depressing film on repeat. Now, discomfort is a sign that you are breaking the pattern. Discomfort is the emotion of growth. If you're feeling horrible and awkward and uncomfortable, good, lean in. That's when you're going to grow. That's when you're going to do something that's testing you. So embrace it and lean in. Even overwhelm. Fear is the emotion of growth. Discomfort is the emotion of growth. Overwhelm is the emotion of growth. But transformation requires you to step away from the known and step into the unknown. And it's scary because it's uncertain. But it's also the doorway to breaking the habit of being the old you and becoming the new you, becoming the happier you, becoming the master and the creator of your destiny. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this session. Let's fucking go. I love you all.